Everyone, welcome back. We are hanging with homie again. Second week in a row. The check must have cleared, and that's why he returned. And he's got a brand new setup. Look at this man's crispy setup right now.
Bro, I've been working on this, something fierce. I've sent you so many videos, so many pictures. And, dude, I'm just a total nerd for this kind of stuff. I just love setting everything up and the different lighting and, a new, mic arm here. So, dude, I'm hyped to be back for week 2, hanging with homie.
I'm glad, because my whole show hinges on the fact that you're going to show up. So the week you don't, I'm not going to know what to do.
I'm always going to be here, bro. I always got your back. I have for nearly 25 years. So I'm in.
I appreciate you, dog. And, for this week, because we've talked a lot in the week about what it is we're going to bring to the show, and things just change a lot from Sunday to Sunday. And we've kind of both decided that, JR, you're in the mix with entertainment and pop culture and music. And so I thought, well, wouldn't it be great for you to get off your chest all the things that you don't have enough time on the radio to talk about? You bring them here. It's an open format. We might go 3 hours. We probably won't, but, I bet everybody out there, we're going to give you at least 45 to an hour. So what's the first thing just like burning in your list of notes here?
Well, there's a few things that are going on over on my side of things in the radio world, in the pop world. Some pretty big stories. I think the biggest one I want to start with is this new celebrity relationship, Selena Gomez and Drew Taggart
sizzle
of the Chainsmokers.
Yo, shout out to
dating.
Maine. Drew Taggart from Maine, bro.
Holding it down for us. So these two were spotted out on a bowling date. Some people said that they even saw him getting awful cozy after the date in the back when nobody was around, if you know what I mean.
Everybody stalks celebrities, huh? It doesn't matter. You're not safe anywhere.
No, you're not. You're really not. But Dave, allow me to play devil's advocate for a second. First off, cute couple, but if I may play it.
I'm with you.
There's something inside of me, just because of, I think, my 9 years or so of radio broadcasting that I've done and being around this stuff. Part of me says that this relationship isn't actually real.
Wait, you're telling me it's a fake? It's fabricated, possibly?
Possibly, okay? And
right.
This is all alleged. I don't know these people. I'm not friends with these people. But if I may, just, bend your ear for a second, okay? So this is something that we see that happens a lot in celebrity, especially in music, right? Now, I think the tell is going to be if the Chainsmokers and Selena Gomez maybe drop a song this spring. Maybe that's what this is all about. And we've seen it happen time and time again, right? Like, you look back into history and you got people like Zac Efron, Vanessa Hudgens. That made perfect sense, right? Obviously, their films, High School Musical, were just massive, of course. You got people like Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart. Obviously, similar idea here because of their films as well. And then you got Emma Stone, Andrew Garfield, amazing Spider-Man, amazing movie. And the theme here is, what can one party kind of get from the other? And I remember specifically, I met Lauv back when I was working in Nashville. You remember his song, I Like Me Better When I'm With You.
Yeah, that was a hit. That was a bop.
Absolutely. So he comes in to do this like Christmas performance for us. We got some fans, at the station. It was just a little thing. And all of a sudden, he's dating Julia Michaels.
Who's Julia Michaels? I'm very much out of the loop.
Julia Michaels, popular singer, songwriter, same world as him, right?
Okay, musician again. Got it.
Exactly. And lo and behold, they release a song together, and shortly thereafter, they break up.
Because there was no more songs, or there was no more love to make the songs. It's like the chicken and the egg. Like, if you run out of sequel movies, does that mean you have to end the relationship? Or if the relationship ends, does one person say, well, I'm not doing it anymore because this person's got to be off the project? And then they say, you know what, you're both off because we're not doing any more movies.
Yeah, dude, it's a common thing. Musicians, even actors as well. I read stuff about Harry Styles and Kendall Jenner, also stuff about Drake and J-Lo, which I never knew about at the time, but apparently they had an alleged fake relationship.
A fake relationship, because he's just had a lot of, I feel like, situationships with many, many women. So, but this was a marketing relationship, shall we?
Right.
Right.
And the whole thing kind of begs the question. And I know where I stand on this, and I'll get to that in a second. But I want to ask you, and I want to ask our listeners, is this something that you would partake in? Would you be involved in a fake relationship? Now, hear me out. If this meant it would boost up your brand and it would boost up your value within your respective industry, like for you, filmmaking, is this something that you would consider?
Well, I mean, right now my brand needs a boost. So if I can hop on the coattails and just ride for a minute, then I mean, maybe I would. I don't know. I'm such a romantic, though. In reality, me as a real person, I could never do it. I'm just too much into the idea of I want to find somebody who's really my soulmate, who really gets me. And I guess maybe if I hadn't met that person yet, I'd say, well, hey, what the heck? Let's try this out. This can't last more than a couple television seasons or, quarters in the music fiscal industry, however the numbers go. But I think the main thing is, as a fan, do you feel cheated a little bit? Or is the music so good that you say, you know what, I'll give you a pass because that song was really good?
Yeah, it's a strange thing because it could be super beneficial. And we've seen, the proof is in the, pudding there, so to speak.
Love
and
pudding.
It's strange because it's weird. It's almost like an arranged marriage, like where they have in certain parts of the world, right?
The arranged marriage of Hollywood. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Wow. We are uncovering things that we didn't even consider, but that's what it's called, everybody. An arranged marriage of Hollywood, the music industry. Really since Napster and BearShare and LimeWire and you name it, they've had to get creative, and maybe this is a way they're doing it. They're infiltrating real relationships to sell records.
Yeah, and I need all the help that I can get, quite frankly. So an arranged Hollywood marriage, I would dive into head first, PDA, public makeout sessions,
everything,
whatever it took to push the project to the next level. I'm on board for all of it, bro. I'm with you on that.
I sent you, as soon as you brought it up and we were chatting about it, I sent you the emoji of the $1 Million Man doing this because I was saying everybody's got a price.
For the $1 Million Man. They do.
We do. I think all of us do it. And, there's a number, right? And I don't have any good data to back this up, but it's somewhere around like $70,000 to $75,000. Any more than that, you're not really a lot happier than when you're at that number. Now, you can do a lot more cool stuff and you can have a lot more cool stuff, but your happiness quotient, we'll say, doesn't really go up or down much. And I know, and from living on very little, like 20 to 30,000 a year, to now making the most you've made, and me kind of going up and down in freelance. I actually had one of my happiest years when I was living in Boston, making like 26 grand after I did my taxes. I think it was like 26,000. I had a great year. Now I don't want to struggle like that. And I'm lucky that I was able to work and I was physically able to do it. But back to that point, there's a magic number for everybody. And I don't think it's much more than 75,000.
Right. Do you think it's so much the number, or is it more the notoriety that could come along with one of these arranged Hollywood, relationships? And that's an excellent point about your year, about, 26, but I was the happiest I had been in a long time. And I think when I look at a job or I look at a career like I'm in now, you have your salary and then you have your creative fulfillment.
And we talk about this all the time.
Yeah, those don't always meet, and it's a very, very tough thing. And fortunately, we've come across a platform like this video podcast that I get to do with my best friend. We go back since Bowl Cuts, and this is what's really bringing my creative fulfillment back. As much as I love being on the air, and I'm super grateful to be able to do it, and I love making videos and TikToks and Reels while I'm there, bro, I look forward to this like you would not believe. It just lights a fire under my butt, and it's starting to bring that creative fulfillment up to match where you are kind of financially.
It's important. I mean, I have kind of done more things, I would say, for fulfillment versus money. I've done so many things where I could have taken the money, but I looked ahead 10 years and said, I don't want to be that guy in the office who's been in the same cube for 15 years.
Exactly.
Now, a lot of people, that's safe and steady and they like that. And hey, that's your thing.
Nothing wrong with it, right?
I met a ton of people when I worked in Silicon Valley, when I worked in New York. They were great people. Loved talking to them. Like, I made friends with them. Yeah. But I just knew for me, I said, that's just not me. So after about 7 years, I had to leave. Now, I wish more of the opportunities would come around that money was attached to it with the fulfillment. But I know at some point, the money's going to catch up with me being creatively fulfilled. And I think that it comes off in a way where when people meet me, they say, you're really happy and you seem to love what you do. And it's a good energy I give off. And that's what attracts people to me. Now, sometimes it attracts people that want to just energy vampire and like suck the life out of me. And it's hard for me to recognize that because I just want to give. And this last year, I definitely learned there's a lot of those people that they seem to mean well and they seem to want to help you, but really it's all for their own personal gain. So I'm getting better at recognizing those people and trying to just shoo them away nicely. But the money's coming, bro. It's going to catch up with the creative fulfillment. It's coming.
I know it will, dude. If anybody believes in you, trust me, it's me. And, you know, back to kind of your point, when I first broke into radio, dude, I was literally working for free. I was working for, gift cards and expired restaurant coupons. But
tell me that story. Time out. Tell me the story about the expired restaurant coupon.
Yeah, I'll tell you. First thing, I was one happy guy because my name was on the radio, and that's still the coolest feeling in the entire world, and it'll never get old. But when I broke in Portland, Maine for Q97.9 as a mix show DJ, I wasn't actually on the payroll yet. So I was submitting mixes 5 days a week, 30-minute mix shows, and I wasn't getting paid. But it didn't really matter because like I said, my name was on the air and people were starting to recognize me for my DJing. And it was like, man, it was such a great platform to get known. After a while, it was like, hey, here's a gift card to XYZ, or here's a coupon to this restaurant in Portland.
Kind of like money.
Yeah. And bro, being so broke and being so hungry, I would legitimately take the bus to go to these restaurants so I could get a meal for the night. And dude, more times than not, I'm not even kidding, I would show up and the restaurant would either be not there anymore.
Didn't even exist.
Didn't exist anymore because they had already shut down and these coupons have been in the prize closet for 10, 11 months.
Gotta have coops.
Yeah, or they're just closed. And I'm just like, damn, like, what am I going to eat today? And then eventually, after a while, it was, okay, we'll bring you on as kind of a part-time employee. We'll give you up to 29 hours a week. You're making $10.10 an hour.
Up to.
Yeah. And then minimum
$10.10
wage.
Before taxes.
Yeah. So I was making $10.10 an hour. And then minimum wage got bumped up to that in Portland back in that time.
Right.
And I know I was making 10. Minimum wage got bumped up to 10.10. So I was doing my dream job, making less than minimum wage. But it goes back to that point. I was so creatively fulfilled because I was doing what I genuinely wanted to do for the rest of my life. And it was the start. So it was at that point where the creative fulfillment was at an all-time high. The money was at an all-time low. And you'll find yourself at multiple times throughout your career and throughout your life where they just don't match. Either one's up and one's down, but it's when you can get to that point where they're even. And that's a lot easier said than done, right? Because as creatives, we're never actually fulfilled. But if you can get to that point, damn, you're onto something. Hang on to that the rest of your life.
Well, it's been a journey too for you. That's why I say I know the money's coming, because I've seen it happen to you. I've seen it happen to me. If you weren't willing to put your quarters down for the bus to go and like you put in your 10,000 plus hours, as popularly said, right. 10,000 hours and you become a master or an expert in something. And nobody says you're going to get paid during those 10,000 hours, by the way, but you got to find a way to get them in. So you found a way to get them in, and now you're making the most you've made in your professional career, which is really cool because you get to see it pays off. And now when you venture out on the next thing, you will know in your head, okay, I've been at the bottom of the step or the bottom rung, and it proved that it paid off. So you're going to be willing to do it again because you know that it does work. And you'd be willing, I bet, to wait longer if it meant more or it meant success.
I would wait forever, and I would do this entire journey all over again tomorrow if I had to.
Same
Honestly,
way, you'd do it.
Yep.
I like that.
It doesn't matter. It takes a certain type of person, to really put themselves out there and never quit and never give up and always bet on yourself and just keep going no matter what. And eventually you'll get to where you want to be, or you'll always inch closer. I don't think we'll ever be to a point where we can hang up the hat and say, okay, what a career, right? See, me either. I couldn't do that. I'm always going to be wanting to do something amongst the entertainment industry, whether it's broadcasting or podcasting or, long form, short form videos, whatever it is. I'm always going to be doing something. And I think this is something that we could do, gosh, man, until we're 6 feet, bro.
I mean, I think it's going to be cool when we're old men doing this.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the heck this is going to look like. Probably different gear. I mean, who knows? That's way in the future.
Yeah.
But we're going to still be doing this. It brought up, I know we want to talk about this today. I think this is a good way to get into it.
Okay.
It's not just about the money. And you once upon a time brought me an opportunity that was just about the money, and we need to talk about that.
Yes. So let me tell you, hearing this right now, Dave and I were once a part of a multi-level marketing scheme.
And it's a company. It is a scheme because it's a scheme and not a scam. Let's just be fully about that. Okay. This is a company that makes millions of dollars and tons of products. And I bet a bunch of you have been involved, or somebody has done it, or you've had the products.
Or you've been approached in a library or a
maybe
bookstore
by one of
or at
us.
The mall. So I had to have been about 19 years old, right? Is it okay if I say what the name of the
let's say
company?
it.
Okay. So it was called Amway or Quick Start, and that might trigger something inside of you.
So they were finessing because they had a lot of bad press. So they said, all right, let's change the name to Quick Start. It's the same parent company, but hey, new year, new me, new company. People aren't going to know. I mean, now, long story short, eventually you figure out, okay.
But bro,
but we're not like that. But we're not like that anymore. I've changed. I've changed. I'm different, baby.
But when you're that age and you're that young and you're that impressionable, I was 19. I was a year out of high school. I'm working at Rite Aid, right? I'm a cashier there, just trying to make people smile, just trying to make the time go by. And I met this guy. We'll leave his name out of it. He was, I think, a grade younger than me in high school, but his parents had been involved their whole life. His whole life, rather.
In the business. And we always call it the business to this day.
Just the business, bro. And he approaches me about it, and I'm like, wow. You mean I could kind of get rich quick? This sounds like it's too good to be true. Tell me more. Eventually, I'm sold. I'm in.
Tell me more.
And I sign up, whatever the fee was, and I immediately call Dave, because the whole point of a leveling marketing, scheme is to try to get people under you to build different legs.
Tell your friends and family.
Yeah, friends and family. I call Dave, my best friend. I'm like, if anybody's going to back me on this, it's Dave. Plus, I know he's smarter than me because Dave is in college. So you're back at home. I call you and I go, Dave, I got a business proposition for you.
Go on.
I'm not at liberty to discuss it over the phone, though.
So you can't go on to what? So why did you call me?
I'm going to be there in 5 minutes. I have this guy that's going to explain the whole thing. You're going to love it, dude. Trust me. I'll see you in 5 minutes. And I hang up.
I can't get any words out. I'm like, all right, JR and some guy are coming over. And by the way, I knew in the back of my head, if you were going to come over, you weren't driving. So somebody had to take you.
No, dude. Yeah. So me and this guy roll over to your house, and you may have even, if you've ever experienced this, you may have even gone to a meeting where they kind of show the plan. That was like the big thing. Show the plan, get people to sign up.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah, so I had just bought in hook, line, and sinker, and we go over to Dave's place, and this guy does the plan. And I'm like, I'm adding stuff in because I know Dave and how we, talk and communicate, and I'm throwing in things to kind of help out. But eventually Dave made up his own mind, and you were in too.
And I was in. I said, okay.
Because we've never really talked about what was going through your mind as you were first being shown that plan.
I was very skeptical about the whole thing, but I thought, it does make sense because you can make money with it. I understood that you can make money, but I didn't understand that that there were literally levels to this, and you couldn't remain in the same level. If you didn't, level up and then get people underneath you and underneath them and underneath them, that's why they call it a pyramid scheme, because somebody has to be at the top making the most money.
Yep.
And if you think about it, most businesses are pyramid schemes. You're an employee. You're not the CEO. You don't have a bunch of shares, so you don't make the most money. You don't get the decision making. We were talking about Vince McMahon last week. Yeah. And, now he's trying to get most of the stakes and the shareholders so he can have full control of the company, right? Yeah. Anyway, but back to this, I saw it as a way to get rich quick. I was like, I need to make money. I'm in college. I am poor. I was working at Avis cleaning cars, and I only did that because it was super fun to drive the car as fast as possible from the Jetport to the Avis lot and just whip around. And that's what was fun for me. But then they're like, no, you have to vacuum. I had to do most of the cleaning. So 2 weeks in, I told the guy, hey, I'm going on a trip to Acadia. I just told him I was going. I'm 20 years old. You randomly
picked Acadia?
I really was going.
Oh, okay.
No, Katahdin, Mount Katahdin with my buddy Ben from high school. We're going to go climb Katahdin and hang out. And he's like, well, we need you here. You can't just take vacation. I said, well, I guess I quit then.
I guess I'm out of here, bro.
I'm 2 weeks into this job. Okay, I'm getting $11 an hour, which I thought was cake at the time. More than you, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Bro,
well, at that time, yeah, definitely more.
Yeah, I was working at Rite Aid, dog.
And this is 2006, 05, 06. And so this is how I left, though, because I was in his office and I didn't have a shirt on underneath. Now, that my house is luckily 0.3 miles from the Avis rental car lot. So I just took the shirt off. I had no shirt. I put it on his desk and I walked home shirtless.
Dog, that is the most G move there's ever been. I love that.
Just I gotta go. So I told this dude, I was like, hey, man, I'm in. Whatever you need, let's do it, because I'm trying to get money. And then I remember having to go back there because I still had to get my final check, which I really needed. It was $800. I worked a lot of hours.
And that's awkward.
And I put it all into the business.
In front of the guy. I was
stormed
out.
I was hopefully he wasn't there, but he was there. I was like, hey, thanks. And I just left, didn't say anything. So I took most of that money, though, and put it into product, signing up for the business.
So I signed up my first person. It was Dave.
I'm me, patient zero, baby.
And I'm thinking, Dave's the smartest guy that I know. He's going to make me rich.
You're riding the gravy train. You're like, I found the best one.
Dude, yeah. And it was always so awkward trying to approach people, because a lot of people that were older that weren't in that 19 to 21 age, they've all been approached. They've all, went to a meeting or had a friend that did or a family member, and they're like, no, dude, it's a scam. I'm not.
It got to the point where I invited my ex-girlfriend from high school to come over to this dude's house. You were there, and you know who it is, and we're cool. There's no worries, but
right.
I was reaching out to everyone. This is what we're trying to get at. I wasn't even leaving out my ex-girlfriend, and she came and saw it, and she didn't sign up, but Like, that's what we were going through. We were like Jordan Belfort selling anyone who would talk to us on this dream that we didn't even understand how to explain.
No, we just knew that we were around a bunch of like wealthy people that had all like had success with it. And we would just daydream about it because, dude, when they would get you into these meetings, and a lot of them would be held privately at somebody's house, and you're like, oh my God, you look around and I could have this. I could have this at 19, 20 years old. There's no way that I could get this any other way. And you just get sucked right in because you see the lifestyle. You want to be the lifestyle. You want to live the lifestyle. And then slowly but surely over time, you start to wisen up. You have more, real world experience. And then you're like, I think I'm going to do something else. And that's when I decided to give music a real go. But that's not to say that I didn't have an excellent time with those people. I specifically remember this one instance where we're in Westbrook, Maine. We drive all the cars down to the basketball court and we turn on all the lights. And it's like, I don't know, 10, 11 o'clock at night. And we're all out there and we're calling ourselves like the Diamond Club because we're going to go diamond. That was like the top tier you could get. And we're all playing basketball and it's all of us young dudes and girls. And we're just like, we're all going to do it. And we're all having so much fun. And yeah, I even met a girlfriend through the business that I dated for a while.
Dude, I remember that. What?
She was way out of my league too.
But you do business, so you're like, hey, I'm kind of successful here. What's up?
That was the thing. It was kind of like, well, if I'm going to date anybody, they're going to be in the business, because we all wanted to have that small kind of like, tight-knit group of like-minded people. And yeah, had some amazing times with all that. And eventually, I wanted to really give music a go. I think you eventually really wanted to give music a go. And we're like, we're going to bet on ourselves. And slowly but surely, like I didn't renew, but I would still buy some of the products because the excess energy drinks were delicious, bro.
Man,
so
to this
good.
Day, still my favorite energy drink.
If I could get my hands on those, I would ditch Monster in a heartbeat.
The classic. It was the classic blue with the orange excess. That was I remember the flavor, but that's the one.
I think it was like a tropical punch or something, and then you would take this like caffeine pill and then down the drink, and they called it a roadie blast. So while we're out there all shooting hoops, we're all like just so hopped up on caffeine that it's just crazy, and we can't sleep. So we're just staying up all night talking about the business and talking about how rich we're going to be, and
talking about our dreams. And a lot of dream building.
Yeah, if you think about it, it's not all bad.
No, and we talk about this still to this day, that those things are important, and we learn them outside of the typical business world. I apply a lot of those principles to my life still to this day. The networking, the confidence to approach people, how to articulate ideas in front of others, like leadership. There's so many good things. And that is why I said, I get this. I understand that this, like, I like the camaraderie, I like hanging out with the people. But the moment that I realized this probably isn't going to work for me or you is we were sitting down at the table of one of the older folks that had done well. They claimed in this business, and they probably were telling the truth. But they asked me, what do you want? What's your goal? What is your dream? I said, well, I want to own a recording studio. I was like, me and my dude right here, we're going to record music, and that's what I want to do. And he said, well, wouldn't you want to own 4? And I was like, why would I want to own 4? I can't be in 4 at the same time.
No.
He said, well, you can make more money. And I was like, well, yeah, but I can't make music. So the goal is to make music. And it was at that point I said, oh, you just want me to be a business person only. Yep. And you're ignoring what I'm really telling you is that I want the time and the freedom to create.
Yeah. 100%, man. I got the same exact thing. It's like, well, JR, like, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? I'm like, dog, I'm 19. I don't know. I want to be a famous musician. Yeah. And they're like, well, what if you were a millionaire and you could finance your music career? And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. I don't know, man. I just want to make stuff.
Yeah, like what we're doing today. I mean, I would not have wanted to stay in even if I was successful, because I wouldn't be making things. I would be rinse and repeat, do the business, do that, da 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 da. And I always tell you, hey, we got to fall in love with the process, which might be very boring sometimes and monotonous, and all the audio stuff you've been teaching me the past couple weeks, not super fun, but I like the result. So I said, cool, I'll get good at this really boring thing. And if I'm so good at it, it's a muscle memory.
Yep.
It would have been the same with that business. I did get really good at actually showing the plan at one point. And I did it on a couple college campuses, and I even brought it out to California, and I got a couple people in my group that way. But I wasn't in love with it. And then I realized I'm just being forced to hang out with people. They're not bad people. It's like, again, an arranged relationship, arranged friendship. I don't want to kick it with these people all the time.
Yeah, as good as, they're good people for sure. But it's like, if anybody hearing this is a fellow creative type, which if you are hearing this, I assume that you want to be around a bunch of like-minded people that want to just at any point in any day, just get together. Let's make something. Well, what do you want to make? I don't know. Let's just figure it out.
Anything.
Those are the kind of people that I want to be around. But you're right. I learned a lot of good skills from just being involved for the time that I was, like how to talk to strangers and, how to make, not how to make people like you. I don't think that's what I'm trying to say. I think it's how to be more likable.
Win friends and influence people, Dale Carnegie. That was one of the books too. That was when I got turned on to audiobooks for the first time.
Really?
Because that business had a bunch of remember the CDs?
Yeah, and you would buy them after the plan.
Or we'd get them all from our buddy and, can we borrow that? There was, the upsell. If you were just good at the education selling, you didn't even have to be good at selling the products because those people were raking it in.
But let me ask you this, and I mean this with all due respect to anybody that we know that has been in the business or is currently still in the business. Because again,
we got to tell our story on this because we were involved.
Yeah. So with all due respect, let me ask you this. All of those CDs, before them, they were tapes for them. Was that not just like brainwashing?
Well, it is. But here's the point. Sometimes your brain needs to be washed. Okay? Like a lot of that stuff, I'd say a majority of it, take it out of the context of that specific business. That's good stuff. So if you apply it to the right thing, consistency, show up on time. If we apply all those principles to the music industry and the entertainment industry, you say, oh yeah, I need that. Everything you and me talk about now, it was in those tapes and CDs. It's just they were in the wrong context for us. They were trying to get people
in the context of the business rather than we took it to say, well, we can apply these same principles not only to our lives, but to our careers, in whatever, industry it might be. So yeah, brainwashing, I wanted to ask you that because that tends to be kind of like a negative word, but you're right. It was just putting a bunch of good, positive thoughts and like constructive, ways to go about yourself and to go about things. All of it was kind of good. That's why it's like, I can't say anything bad about it, because it was good stuff. It wasn't for us.
No, it wasn't for us. It was a learning experience. And I wouldn't trade it because think about this. We could be the same age, having never experienced at the level we did, ground floor, actually doing it. And we would just be sitting here speculating on what it's like. But we both know firsthand exactly what it's like. And we met some of the biggest heavy hitters who are still, I think, doing it and were truly successful.
I remember at one point we all hopped in this big like RV, bro. And I think we drove to Ohio for this giant conference.
I missed that one because I was in California, but I flew in.
I think this was one of the first times that I started to notice not everybody is about this because there were a bunch of protesters outside before we even went into the conference. And then once we got out and we're told, don't listen to them. They're just, haters and whatever. And this was the conference I went to that I had a diamond shaved into the back of my head.
Dude, we have photos. If I
'Cause I
can
was
find
going
them
diamond,
before,
bro.
I know I have some I can show, but if I can find that one before this episode goes out, I am putting that up.
Please do. And it was pretty sick. And it was, people would come up and ask you, why do you have that diamond? And it's like, well, I'm not at liberty to discuss it, but I have a guy that can explain. So yeah, there we are, full circle, man.
All right, Dave, take it away.
Yeah, that was our time in Quick Start, in Amway, in a, pyramid scheme.
Shout out to XS. Now, they wouldn't call it a pyramid scheme, but if you look at the structure, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Is it legal? Yes, it is, but it's a legal pyramid scheme. That's what I'm going to say about it. Man, what a journey. I'm sure we're going to have more stories about that too, but I feel like that encapsulates our journey in the business, if you will.
Pretty much.
I wanted to hear more, though, about pop culture because I still feel very out of the loop. And I know the Super Bowl is coming up and the halftime show is a big deal. And I believe Beyonce's done a halftime show before, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was involved in one a few years back, was it?
She must have been. I just know because you mentioned something in our notes in our pre-meeting about Beyonce. And I said, well, I haven't heard about her in a while. So, what's new with Beyonce?
Well, the other big story right now in the pop world, Beyonce did the Super Bowl halftime show back in 2013. So this was a while. This was 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So the big story right now with Beyonce is she just performed her first concert in 5 years. Did you hear about this?
No. Okay. So she's performing again.
Sort of. This was in Dubai. So her first concert in 5 years. I think it was like a bot show in Dubai. And the thing about it is cameras were not allowed. Like cell phones were not allowed. This was not allowed to be like photographed or filmed or anything. But where there's a will, there's a way, right? Because a ton of clips started just flooding my Twitter feed as it was happening. And it looked like a big extravagant stage. There was this giant sun behind her. She's wearing this like big yellow flowing dress looking as only Queen Bee can look. Jay-Z sitting up in the press box, and
It's The Rock.
Yeah, she performed some songs. She even brought her daughter out to perform a song with her, to sing with her, which I thought was kind of cool.
So no cameras. Yeah. Now it was either one of two things. She got a huge bag, and part of the deal was no clips anywhere. I know how they roll over there. It's a different story, but hey, money is green, so you'll take it. Any stipulations? Or she was filming it for like a Netflix special or the special or something. Do you know about any of that?
No, I
think it's got to be one of those things.
All right, here's what I think is happening here. I don't think it was a special. I don't think it was anything like that. I don't even think like the concert was filmed at all, aside from the people that were there that weren't supposed to.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be surprised if by now a lot of those clips have been pulled off of Twitter. And we're not going to put them here on the show because we don't need that kind of heat. We're already, we're already fighting with one arm behind our back, so to speak. But what I think is happening, Dave, is this was like a bot show opportunity for Beyonce to go get that bag, do your thing. But I think what she's doing here is kind of shaking off the rust. Girl hasn't been on stage in 5 years. And I think what this is ultimately going to lead to is an announcement with tour dates for a North American tour.
Yeah, that's going to go ham. So this is like a soft launch. The only clip I'm seeing is this person's, it's like a purse or something. And it just says, no videos or pictures of Beyonce performing. So it's just this purse just proving that they went.
Yeah, they give you these like, felt lock boxes to put your phones in.
That's
and
what it's for.
They were doing the same thing last night at Comedy Works in the Denver Tech Center when I went to go see the Sklars.
Even the Sklars. Or just a venue probably. Because I've been to a lot of comedy venues and that's just kind of the deal.
Yeah.
And it's been... because most, I think most comedians feel more comfortable, not only if you're not quote unquote stealing their material for your own use, but if they might want to work something out, or they might talk to a heckler, and it might come off out of context as something else. So it just adds complication to their life. I get it.
Yeah, I think it just stems down to, we want you to pay to come see the show. Don't watch it on the internet when some fool posts it and tries to monetize it, you know? But yeah, I think we're going to get a big announcement from Beyonce soon, North American tour. I could have sworn, man, her and Jay-Z did a show in Nashville several years ago together, and I think it was at Vanderbilt.
Really?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if that was part of like a tour or if that was like a 1, 2, maybe 3 off thing. I don't really remember, but yeah, I think the second biggest story we have going on in my world right now in radio is Queen Bee Beyonce gearing up for a tour, just did the big show in Dubai, performed with her daughter, which I hope is something that, she brings to this eventual, States tour. I just think that's kind of cool, How dope would it be to see Jay-Z, Beyonce, and Blue Ivy, right? All on stage. Just
family.
Yeah, rocking the mic,
it's the Rock La Familia.
Rockefeller family, man. Yeah. So,
okay. Okay, so that's what's happening. All right. And you just mentioned, real smooth. Yeah, I went to see the Sklars. Sklar
no
brothers.
Big deal.
Folks, they're our top, at least amongst friends, comedians. We've watched Cheap Seats over and over and over and over again. And it was cool? I just put 2 and 2 together watching their Instagram that you can watch Cheap Seats on their Patreon. I think they just go through old clips still, but you have to pay to watch their Patreon.
What they're doing now is they have their UFC show, but when I was talking to them after their performance, they have cheaper seats.
That's what it is.
Which is like, it's like a lower budget, they're just in front of a green screen, just kind of riffing, doing a lot of the same kind of stuff that we loved. Bro, I can't tell you how a big part of my life Cheap Seats was, because of you, because of one of our pals. Like, we would watch the entire run in low res because those were the rips that we could find.
The 480p's.
And yeah, there was a point in my life where I would fall asleep to that show every single night.
It's comforting, the sound.
Yeah, just the banter back and forth and the jokes. And I mean, you don't really have to watch it. Like, that's how good those two guys are. And they couldn't have been nicer. I was really excited after their performance because I bought this dope hoodie, like Sklar Bro Country hoodie.
Dude, yes.
And I got to, so during the show, they were like, we don't really do this, but we're going to take 5 questions from the audience. Dude, I'm jumping. I'm like, I'm 6'3", and I'm trying to get my hand up, but they're just not picking me.
Yeah.
So finally, when I get to meet them after the fact, I walk up to them and I say, one of the question I wanted to ask you while you were on stage is, what do you guys imagine happened to Floor Wax?
You asked them this? Oh my God, I have to know what they said.
So I can't say it as well as they did, of course, like I'm not a comedian, but the gist of it was, he goes, yeah, we just imagine that he's in some cabin somewhere, just like complete maniac, like off his meds, just trying not to like self-destruct. And he's just hanging on by a thread. Bro. And just the way how they deliver it. It's so funny. And then I got to snap a picture with him. The lighting was terrible, but it's one of those instances where the picture is for me. Like, this doesn't have to live on the internet. This is for me to know.
Right.
And I go, when we take the picture, can we say, on 3, say super dogs, super jocks? And we did, and it was awesome.
Come on, they go, dude. Yes.
Yeah. They go, yeah, this is like a, 4th grader's, birthday party, just not as fun. Thanks for coming out. Like, they were just so funny.
Just not as
fun. Yeah, super good guys. I wish I would have been on top of it more because I would have totally tried to get them to swing by the studio before their shows, so I could have, talked to them and, filmed it for the show and for my, broadcast as well. So they say they come to Denver once a year. They love it here. So I'm definitely going to try that next year if I'm still here. They had a lot to say about Sir Russell Wilson, which was really funny. Of course, Russell, dude. That's what they just opened up with.
Man,
yeah, I'm not going to try to do their jokes.
Yeah, they know their cities.
They were so good, man.
That's cool. I saw them With our buddy, with me and Joe saw him in San Francisco. Gosh, it was probably 2012.
Wow.
Over 10 years ago. They were great. Yeah, I just saw him on this show. I was watching What We Do in the Shadows on Hulu. And at the ninth or 10th episode, they did a cameo spot where they're these fix and flip guys. And it's pretty good. I'll show you the episode. I mean, I don't know what it is. I like that brand of comedy. I like that style of comedy.
Yeah, it's their timing, it's their chemistry, it's their rhythm. Their jokes are so good.
And they incorporate sports.
Yeah, and what makes them stand apart is the way that they do it together. It's just
the twin magic, bro.
Yeah.
It's something else.
Absolutely twin magic, dude. It's special.
Huh. Well, all right. I feel like I'm pretty caught up with some pop culture, and you have crossed into the pop culture by getting to meet them and hang, and I'm secondhand so excited that you got to do that.
Yeah, dude, that was an awesome experience. And before I went to the show, a bunch of really cool pro wrestling news broke, and I kind of wanted to round out the show with a couple stories within the professional wrestling world. If you're cool with that.
I need to know. I've been too busy to keep up. So, but then again, that's why you're on the show. We the people, and I am people. I need to know.
So one of the things is WWE Shop has just dropped a bunch of brand new merchandise for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
I smell what you're cooking.
So this has fans super eager because there's a lot of speculation, a lot of, I think, hope would be the better word, that The Rock is going to show up at the Royal Rumble to win it, to then challenge Roman Reigns at WrestleMania to see who the real head of the table is. And WWE releasing a whole new line of merch for him has people thinking that this is going to actually happen. And where I stand on it is I want Cody Rhodes to win the Royal Rumble because I love his story, trying to win the title for his father, and his big return last year in the amazing matches he had with Seth Rollins, the big-time WrestleMania return, the Hell in the Cell with the torn pec.
I was going to say, didn't he have a big injury too?
Yeah, so he's all healed up. He declared himself officially for the Royal Rumble, and a lot of fans were kind of mad at that. But if I'm honest, a lot of the internet wrestling community is almost impossible to please. They'll always, turn over rocks to try to find something wrong. But I think it's great because it lets me know when I turn on, next Sunday night, I'm going to see Cody in the Rumble, and I'm hyped about it. The other big story is you and I might have to take a trip up to Canada for this one, Dave, because Bret the Hitman Hart is opening his own bar.
Dude, all right. Well, I'm in. I need to have a Labatt Blue, eh?
So this is going to be in Calgary, and they have a whole new Instagram page for it, a whole
Calgary,
new website.
Alberta, yo.
It says that it's going to open up soon. They're looking for servers and bartenders and all kinds of stuff, and I'm just hoping that we're going to get some sort of pictures and videos soon of what's the vibe like on the inside. I don't know if there's necessarily even a name for it yet. I don't remember. I saw it quickly.
All right,
but let's you and I name Bret Hart's bar for him. What would you call it?
The obvious one is Hitman's. That's the obvious one that hits me. But what do you got?
Hitman's is good. I would probably call it Sharpshooters.
That's, you know what? That's better. It just is. Think about it. Shooters, shots. It just goes with a bar theme.
Yeah, it just kind of fits. And this just kind of came out of left field. I didn't really expect to hear anything. It's Bret Hart opening a bar is kind of wild, but I think this might be, worth us taking a trip up to Calgary, bro, hitting Canada so we can go to Sharpshooters.
Yeah, dude. What else is there? The Calgary, they got a hockey team, the Flames, I think.
Do they?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know a lot about Calgary, Alberta.
When I think of Calgary, for some reason I think of the Calgary Stampede,
the football team.
Yeah, was that a USFL team way back?
That was the Canadian, the CFL.
Okay. Yep.
I think The Rock played for them once upon a time. I gotta look this up before we wrap because I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah, I remember him talking about his days in the CFL on Young Rock, which is an awesome show. I don't care who you are. It's just so entertaining.
Yep. Okay. Called it. So he signed with the Calgary Stampeders. I think it's just the Stampede, but it says, and according to Wikipedia, Calgary Stampeders, Canadian Football League. However, he was cut.
Yeah.
His first season, which is probably for the best because now he is the most electrifying man in entertainment.
Yeah, he has a whole episode on that. I think it was in season 2, if I remember. We're in season 3 now. Like I just watched the most recent episode. Young Rock is cool, but yeah, dude, that's pretty much everything that's happening in the wild world of professional wrestling. Real quick, I wanted to see if I could interest you on the
Are you gonna pitch me the business
topic.
Are you gonna pitch me the business again? No.
I'm not at liberty to discuss. You know what? I'll just save it for next week. There was a story of 5th grade. This is peak Attitude Era.
Okay.
Right?
All right. Yeah, we got to hear this 5th grade story.
Do you want it now, or should we hold it?
I want to know. No, I want to know.
Okay.
Now that you brought it up, you can't. Okay. No teasers.
Okay. So 5th grade, Longfellow Elementary, Portland, Maine. Mr. Johnson was my teacher, and Al Snow had just like come out onto Raw, and he has the mannequin head. What does everybody want? Yeah. So
it was a mannequin head. Like we got as a kid, you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. It's like the trophy.
Everybody wants the head. So I write that on the chalkboard. What does everybody want? And then in all capitals, I write head, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. He's like, who did this? And everyone's like, it was Jeff.
Did you, were you like, yeah, it was me?
Yeah. I was like, yeah, I did. Al Snow is, it's so cool. And he goes, I'm going to see you after class, after school.
What, dude? You're like, are we talking about Al Snow? Because that's awesome.
No, I got detention, dog. Like,
damn.
And he held me there for what felt like for hours, trying to get me, a 5th grader, to comp that I understood what oral sex was at what? 12 years old, 11. I don't even remember what age.
You're like 11, dude, because you kept saying, because you answered your own question. What does everybody want? Head. And you said, well, yeah, the mannequin head, obviously.
So he's grilling me, and he's like a big dude. So it was like intimidating. And he's like, you know what it means. Tell me you know what it means. Just spit it out. You know. And I'm sitting there like in tears. I don't understand what you're trying to say. I don't know what head is. It's a mannequin. And I'm the whole thing. And he literally just kept me there for like another hour. He's like, you're going to cop to it. You know what it means. And you know how inappropriate that is. And I was like, Mr. Johnson, I don't understand what you want from me. I'm talking about Al Snow.
It's on TV.
Yeah, and he was a big wrestling fan, so he knew. But he's obviously
knew the innuendo.
Man.
He knew what it really meant.
Exactly. And at that age, I had no idea. Finally, he just let me go. And I wonder to this day, did he feel bad about that? Because I never copped to it because I genuinely didn't understand the innuendo.
So frustrating when you don't actually know.
Yeah, I was like, this is kind of, this is cool. This is kind of weird. He like comes out with a mannequin head and he hits people with it. And what does everybody want? And the whole crowd had, like, it was just
like,
exciting.
Oh, sick. If I had a little prop, that'd be cool too.
Yeah. So I wonder to this day, Mr. Johnson, or if you know him, Mr. Johnson from Longfellow Elementary, if this can find him somehow, some way, I want to know if you feel bad for that, for holding me hostage after school for so many hours, just thinking that I understood what I was saying. But yeah, that's my story in 5th grade about how Al Snow got me detention.
Thanks a lot, Al.
Man,
that's a good story. I feel like as we do this show, more fun stories from our childhood are gonna come out like that. I thought of a bunch of them for this episode, but they're gonna need to see another day.
Well, good thing we're gonna be here week in and week out every single week. Hanging with homie. For Dave, I'm JR. Remember, it's cool to be you. We'll catch you next week. Peace.